I am going to talk about the trademarks that were revealed on trademark websites that seem to be relating to Pokemon, but it is not confirmed to be confirmed. It's not confirmed to be Pokemon related. It's not confirmed to be real. So take the trademark discussion with a grain of salt. Pokemon! 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 Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel and welcome to another Pokemon discussion. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about the animals and the starters of what they could be, something that I did in my Q&A, but I wanted to be a little bit more detailed about it and talk about things a little bit more in depth. Despite what I said in my review, though, I don't know if it's going to be concise and short as I would like it to be. So let's just jump right into this particular video. Now, the trademarks, the names are Mokoro, Ashimari, and Niabi. I want to give a special shout out to the YouTuber, PokeTuber that actually talked about this, that I actually saw the video about, and that is TyranitarTube. And he does these sort of theory videos and speculations or whatever. And it was his video that I actually learned all about this. So a lot of this information is coming from him. So if you want to watch his particular video, go to TyranitarTube or whatever, or maybe the video will be in the link description below. So I definitely want to give him credit because that's how I learned about these particular trademarks, is from TyranitarTube, because I was just watching videos and I was like saying, oh, I wonder what other people are going to think about the starters or whatever they think or whatever. And, you know, maybe there will be like some leak that may have actually happened that a lot of people aren't actually paying attention to, and I saw TyranitarTube, and he was the one that found or discovered or was told about these trademarks. So definitely a shout out to him for all of the trademark stuff in regards to this. So let's just jump right into this. So what I have is, according to the translations that have been going around, in regards to Mokoro, we have Moku, which apparently means wood or tree, I believe is what Moku is in reference to. And then we, of course, have Fukuro, meaning owl. So if this is actually a Pokemon and it is the starters, that means that we're getting a bird grass starter, which is an owl. But like I said in the very beginning of this video, none of these are confirmed, so these are very speculative, and we'll just have to wait and see what that means. So anyway, moving on, we have Ashimara, Ashika, which is sea lion, and Mari, which is ball marine, which means that if it is Pokemon related, Ashimari might very well be a sea lion Pokemon that we're going to get in regards for the starters. So then finally we have Niabi. Naya for cat, and I think it's Abi for meaning fire. I think Abi or B or something like that is fire. At least that's what I've been told, or that's what I've read from things or whatever. And as we know, Naya is definitely cat related because Nayarth is the Japanese name for Meowth. So definitely some confirmation right there. These seem like they could be Pokemon, and they do make sense or whatever, but the problem that I'm seeing, and potentially problems that other people are seeing, is that this might be an actual trend in regards to Japanese, in regards to things. They may get words and combine them to create animals. There are a lot of things out there in Japan that I don't know, like Yokai Watch or whatever, and shows like that that might have monsters in them. I don't know about Digimon. I know the English version, obviously, these wouldn't be Digimon because it'd be like Wood Owlmon, or Sea Lion Ballmon, or Fire Catmon. You know, if it was the English version of Digimon. I don't know if the same thing applies to the Japanese, so it could be a Digimon if the Japanese versions of Digimon don't have Mon at the end of their little title or whatever. So I don't know. So this could be anything Japanese related, but we're gonna speculate in this video if they were real. So the thing that I say here in my notes is it's actually hilarious that two of the three options of the starters actually correspond with what I thought would have happened in my Q&A when I was talking about options. I think it's funny that they coincided a little bit. I made the Q&A and then later saw Tyranitar Tube's video after I made that particular video. And it was interesting that I mentioned that there could have been like a tiger or cat. And I also mentioned, even though that's not what I necessarily wanted, is would this be the generation that we got a bird Pokemon for the grass type in reference to Piplup and Torchic, which before were starters of the other elements, and we had yet to get a grass type bird Pokemon for a starter. So definitely very cool that I seem to have speculated, and if these are actually real, that I at least predicted properly 2 out of the 3 options. So, and I definitely, in regards to the cat, I definitely mentioned the fire tiger in regards to the Chinese zodiac, technically being represented by other generation fire starters. So, continuing the trend, I described a tiger or cat, and even mentioning the character from Kung Fu Tigress, which I think I will mention later on in this particular video. So, the one thing that I am a little disappointed on is the sea lion. I mean, yes, technically we don't have a sea lion starter, technically. The thing is, Samurai is technically a sea lion. It's got the basis of a sea lion and looks very similar to a sea lion, even if it may be regarded as like an otter mutation or something of that nature. And while I understand that the basic stages would be entirely different, I definitely don't think we're going to get a Oshawott 2.0 for the generation. So I definitely think of something more sea lion-esque in regards to that, but I am a little disappointed that they're not entirely different and enough that I would be accepting of it. So I would have preferred something different, you know, especially since we have a frog, turtle, mudfish, crocodile, and penguin water starter. I felt like it would have been a little bit different. Now, I do say the upside is that with a sea lion, an actual true sea lion, we definitely have something that is of a different classification. Otters being part of the family, like weasels and badgers, I think that's the Musteldae family or whatever, while sea lions are part of the line with seals and walruses, and I can't remember what that classification was, but at least a true sea lion would be different from an otter, so that would be really the only unique difference. But the thing that I say that makes it odd about a sea lion starter is that we do have Pokemon like Seal and Spheal, and Dugong is specifically known as the sea lion Pokemon. Again, I know that there are similar Pokemon with each other in regards to the animals they are, and like I said, I do think that a sea lion starter would definitely be different. It's just that I was hoping for something a little bit more unique in regards to this. So it's just like I would have really liked something very unique in regards to the water type. Like I say, it'll definitely be a unique design. And, you know, in regards to like marine zoos or whatever, like SeaWorld or whatever that might have sea lions, you know how they like hit a ball or something, and that's what they do. They kind of like hit a ball. So I definitely think that we'll get something unique in that sense, but I'm not really sure I like the idea of a sea lion Pokemon. You know, and if it is going to incorporate a ball in its design, I would definitely be interested if they created a move. I don't know if it would be specific to that particular starter Pokemon line, or it's something that other Pokemon can have, but definitely I would like a Pokemon move like Water Ball or something, where the Pokemon forms a ball of water or whatever and does tricks with that ball of water, and then can eventually like blast it and attack it or whatever. I guess the closest move that we might have that is the anime version of Water Pulse. It's kind of like a ball or whatever. Ice Ball is kind of close, but that's an ice type, so but I guess we'll just have to hopefully get something. So but even though it might have a unique design, although I'm having problems trying to figure out what the final starter evolution would look like, I'm just thinking, I just look at Samurai, and I'm thinking, do we really need like a cousin starter line in regards to it, but with a different design? But I do expect at least the basic starter to be very cute. I don't think it's going to look like Oshawott in terms of appearance. And while I'm sure some people think Oshawott is cute and everything, it's just that I would think a Sea Lion starter Pokemon would be a lot cuter. Not counting that fan-made version of this particular Ashimari Pokemon that I've seen floating around. That's not necessarily cute. I expect something more adorable cute than the one that I see. So I don't know. It'll depend. If this is real, I'm not sure. It'll depend on the Pokemon and the difference of design. Like I said, I'm having a hard time imagining what the final evolution of a Sea Lion starter Pokemon would look like that would be so different to Samurott. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that's actually the case. I still might end up liking the basic starter of Sea Lion. I just would have preferred an animal that had nothing to do with the other starters at all. And even though otters and sea lions are different animal classifications, like I say, Samurott is basically a sea lion Pokemon. So it's not that I have a problem with like a clam starter Pokemon, for example, and it being similar but different to Shelder and Clam Pearl and stuff. It's just that I definitely would have preferred something more unique. But I guess we'll have to see. I'll probably still like it, but it'll depend on the design. If it's very similar to the fan-made version of Ashimari that I've seen, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like it, but maybe it'll evolve into something cool. But anyway, let's move on to that. So let's move on to the Grass Owl potential starter, the Mokuro. I'm okay with the Grass starter Owl Pokemon. I think that would be very interesting. And this is actually one of the first things that I can definitely say that I would be okay if Ash did not get the Grass Owl Pokemon. Now, I will clarify what I mean later on in regards to Ash, or whatever, but this is the one that I'm like, okay, you know, a female traveling companion with an owl grass starter would be okay. It's definitely one of those things that I'm perfectly okay giving. Now, if it has a really cool design, I might be slightly bitter if it is, but I will, if you call me out on it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I did make that video saying that it would be okay. So I'm definitely, of the three options of the cat, the sea lion, and the owl Pokemon, the grass owl is definitely the one that I'm okay Ash not having, or whatever. But the issue then comes, of course, is the possibility that we will get a fire cat Pokemon, and its base stage might be very similar to Meowth and Skitty and maybe like Glameow and stuff, and just a cute kitty cat, and that's why Ash wouldn't get it. That's my problem, because I don't like the idea that Ash wouldn't get the cat Pokemon because, oh, well, Ash is okay with an owl Pokemon. Ash is okay with a sea lion Pokemon. Let's give May, or not May, sorry. I don't know why I said May. Let's go ahead and give Ash's female traveling companion the cat Pokemon. Because like I said, if the final evolution of this fire cat Pokemon looks anything like Tigress, and it's a bipedal humanoid fighting tiger Pokemon, I am going to be extremely upset if Ash doesn't get it. If it's like some sort of seductive Aladdin type Saudi Arabian veiled Pokemon or something like that, I feel like maybe I would be more like, take Mega Metacham and like kind of turn it into like a tiger Pokemon or whatever, make some sort of feminine design. Maybe then I would be okay with Ash not having it. But if we get some sort of warrior cat Pokemon or whatever for the final evolution, something like Pyroar, but for the starter and more warrior design, I would be very upset if Ash didn't get it. Now, I realize that maybe I said this before and that I would have liked Serena with Pyroar, but the thing is, I would have expected like a female Pyroar or something, and the only reason why I thought that is because I really wanted Ash with a Delphox or a Fennekin, so if Serena wasn't going to get Fennekin or whatever, then she could have gotten Litleo and Pyroar, and it's fine or whatever. And then, of course, Ash got Fletchling, Fletchinder, and Talonflame, and I thought that would be a better option. But if we're talking about a warrior fighting cat Pokemon, I would really love it if Ash had it. So that's the only issue that I take, is that there probably wouldn't give a grass owl Pokemon to the female traveling companion because of the cat. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, back to what I said about the owl, is even though I am fine with Ash having it, it would make sense if Ash were to get it, because it would just be another knocked owl, and I would definitely like something like that, like a base stage, and then it fully evolves into a... and that's kind of the problem. If this was actually the case, what would we actually get for a final evolution in regards to an owl Pokemon? With Torchic, we had this humanoid fighting chicken creature thing or whatever that looked like a human with like talons and feet or whatever. Definitely looked like a human dressed up as in a like a mask or whatever. And then Piplup kind of grew into this giant steel type penguin sort of instance or whatever. What would be an owl? What would the owl look like, and would it be that interesting for a starter? The only thing that I can think of in regards is we might get something similar to Xatu, and Xatu is a psychic flying Pokemon, but it's very bipedal humanoid. It basically looks like some sort of Native American dressed up as a bird, despite that really bird head. And I'm thinking it might be similar, or maybe not quite as humanoid, but definitely maybe like Noctowl, but like bigger and more monstrous maybe. It's really hard to say, and without actually thinking of what it would be cool. And like I said, a humanoid owl final evolution I feel like would be very creepy. And I'm just thinking of Xatu, but like owl-wise, and it'd be creepy, so maybe I'd definitely be okay with Ash not having that. But it really depends on the circumstances. It's really hard to imagine what it would look like, so I think I may have to reserve judgment if this is actually the case. So, just a little bit touch up on the fire cat Pokemon. I think it's really cool, and like I said, I would really love it if we had a Tigress looking final evolution. And like I said, as much as people would hate it, and I know a lot of people would hate it, I would love the thought of a bipedal firefighting tiger Pokemon. that thing would just be awesome. I wouldn't even care if it would be firefighting. I really wouldn't care. I really wouldn't care. This is the one instance where I wouldn't care. The other instances I can understand. I think Blaziken was okay. Infernape kind of made sense. Tepig was the one that really shouldn't have been a fighting type, but ended up being a fighting type. And while this would be our fourth firefighting starter, I feel like a firefighting tiger that's bipedal and fighting would make a lot of sense in regards to Pokemon. Whether it be the starter or just another separate Pokemon. I mean, it would be nice to have a firefighting that's not a starter Pokemon. That'd be interesting. But definitely, I personally would love the thought of a firefighting tigress-looking Kung Fu Panda Pokemon as the final stage of the tiger Pokemon. But like I said, it could be like a quadruped fire Pokemon that may be fire steel, and maybe it's just an armored Pokemon. Maybe the middle stage will have these armor instances and might be a steel type, and then we'll just get this like armored cat that breathes fire or something. If this is actually the case and it is a fire cat. So I'm really hoping for the warrior fire tiger Pokemon in regards to Niabi, if it really is what I think it's going to be. I would definitely love it. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what else it could be. It could be like a fire dark, I guess, or whatever, being bipedal. But regardless, I would love if Ash had that as his starter Pokemon in this particular generation in regards to Ash. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say in regards to that. So what if the trademarks are not real? What if they're unrelated to the actual Pokemon and the animals that were listed, the sea lion, the grass owl, the fire cat? What else could we expect? And I've just got some options here of what I would like to discuss. Now let's go with grass first. So I say monkey. Now in the QA, I accidentally said a sloth was similar to a monkey. I kind of jumped to that because I was thinking of Slackoth or whatever, and I feel like it would have made sense if there was like a grass version and having that be a starter, although Slacking would be different. Sloths are not primates, so it's definitely they're definitely not monkeys, but they are similar enough that I can definitely see that if we could get a grass sloth or whatever. But what I think I may have meant to say is lemurs, and lemurs are primates, and I say here, and I'm going to be very quickly, is that there are two branches of primates, and I think there's a difference of physical characteristics, and we have the lemur side of primates that have their own unique physical characteristics that they've evolved in or whatever, and then we have the other scale, which includes like monkeys and apes and humans in regards to the primates or whatever. So I feel like that would be okay, a lemur, but I would definitely be okay with a straight up monkey Pokemon being for the grass starter, and I think it would be cool. Now, a lot of people might be like, Pansage, Pansage, Pansage. And while that Pansage was probably a monkey technically, I think it would be the difference of Chimchar and Pansear. Pansear is definitely very close to Chimchar, but they have different designs. So what I'm expecting for the grass monkey is something not as bland as Pansear, Pansage, and Panpour. What I'm expecting is something more design heavy in regards to a grass monkey that's relating to Chimchar's line or whatever. I feel like a grass monkey would be very detailed if it was going to be the starter, not the bland kind of design that Pansear, Pansage, and Panpour have, because the writers were trying to create a alternative element trio. So yeah, I definitely think that would be interesting or whatever. A lemur, a sloth, a monkey, one of those would be perfectly okay with me. I also have two other options here. I think a fairy-like creature that's part grass would be interesting. I don't know what that would look like, but maybe it'd be very fairy-like. You know, I think the best example I can think of is, I think it's Rosemon, the Digimon. I think that's what it is, or Petalmon. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Or no, it's Lilymon. Rosemon is apparently a Digimon, but I meant Lilymon. You know, I mean Rosemon's okay too, but like Lilymon. Lilymon's a Digimon, and it's like a grass fairy type or whatever. It looks, it's, yeah, something like Lilymon or Rosemon of the Digimon, I think would be an acceptable grass starter. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't be a carbon copy. I'm sure it'd probably be based off of, I don't know, maybe a monkey or something with a tail or something, or maybe even like cactus or something. Hey, speaking of cactus, no. But, you know, something like that where it could look like a fairy, or it could just be some sort of, it could be like a leprechaun type creature or whatever, and looks like some sort of imp-like creature or whatever, but it also is part grass but also fairy. That would definitely be an option that I definitely could see. The other option that I have is a tree type Pokemon that's similar to Phantup or Nuzleaf, also humanoid. The best thing that I can think of, even though I think this would work more as a standalone Pokemon, is something like Tiki related. Like, Tiki statues look like, are like, well, I don't know if you want to call them humanoid, but Tiki looks like it has features. It has eyes and stuff. It has a mouth and a nose, and it might just be a creepy human representation or whatever. A human monster, I guess you would call it Tiki. So something like a Tiki would be interesting, but if I was going to do a Tiki type Pokemon, I would think it would be Grass Fire. You know, like a Tiki Torch would be Grass Fire. And I feel like a Tiki would definitely be a grass fire type Pokemon. The only issue is I'm not entirely sure that would work for the starter, because I don't know if they would double up on those types. I don't think we would get like a grass fire, a water grass, and then a fire water Pokemon. I don't know if that's something that the Game Freak would ever do. So if it was going to be Tiki, maybe it could be like grass poison or something, final evolution, even though that'd be similar to Bulbasaur. And by grass poison, I mean I'm thinking like a blow dart or something could be poisonous or whatever. So I don't know. Something similar to that, or a tree, maybe get like something more similar to Phantup and Trevenant, but starter-wise, definitely unique, I think would be okay. But the grass one was the hardest one to think of things for, but it could literally be anything. I mean, there could even be a grass mouse, for all I know, and that would probably make sense, but it's really hard to think of grass Pokemon, especially since most of them are reptilian, and I was trying to stay away from the reptilian type things or whatever. So that's grass. That's all I can think of. If you can think of anything that you would like to see, definitely put that in the comment section below, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that would have been cool. But anyway, let's move on to the fire. Now, of the Chinese Zodiac, and let's assume that it is going to be a Chinese Zodiac, let's take out the cat, okay, because that's Naiabi, and we've already discussed her, whatever. What other options could we get? I think would be interesting if we got like a different type mouse, and I realized that Cyndaquil is the fire mouse, and that's similar to the rat of the Chinese Zodiac, even though Cyndaquil is based on an animal that's not relating to the mouse, because I think Cyndaquil is an Enchinda, and Enchindas are not technically rodents, but it is classified as the fire mouse with its classification. So, but what I'm thinking is definitely something more rodent based, and I definitely think we could get like a actual mouse or rat like Pokemon. And what I've thought before, and it would be fine if this was like a standalone or a separate starter or a separate non-starter Pokemon, but I like the idea of a fire mouse Pokemon that's based off as a bomb. you know, like it has like explosive natures. Like one of the attacks could be like fire bomb or something. I mean, that might be a little too extreme for Pokemon, but whatever they want to change it to in regards to the English, because I'm pretty sure a Pokemon attack being called fire bomb would probably not go well in regards to the demographic. But I guess we'll have to see. It might be like Heat Blast or something like that. Because Fire Blast is already a Pokemon move. So I'm trying to think of the English, and I'm thinking maybe Heat Blast or Heat Explosion. I mean, we do have Self-Destruct and Explosion, so maybe like Fire Explode or something. I don't know. It really depends on what they want to go. If Fire Bomb is an acceptable Pokemon move, I would definitely love to see a Fire Mouse being able to have that as one of its moves, and then launching these fire things that actually explode. You know, and maybe the move could be where if in like doubles or triples that it targets one but it does secondary damage to the other Pokemon, kind of like a grenade or a bomb would do. You have like a particular target, but anything close could take damage from it. That'd be interesting. But I don't know if it would be competitive or whatever, but definitely would like a mouse or a rat, but something more specific to the mouse or rat. But if not, that's perfectly okay. The other Chinese zodiac animals that would be interesting is one, I have ox. I definitely, of the Chinese zodiac, would prefer an ox over a goat. And I would definitely love to see an ox, and I think that would be a very interesting type. I'm kind of expecting though that we would probably get a firefighting ox Pokemon, and it would be very similar to a Minotaur, but with fire properties and stuff. So, although if it was going to be a Minotaur, I would hope for a fire fairy Pokemon. If it was going to be based off of a Minotaur, I would pray that it would be fire fairy. But who knows? Maybe we can get like some sort of Minotaur Pokemon as a non-starter or whatever. But that's just my idea. Next is a rabbit. I would definitely like to see a rabbit. You know, it would be very cool to have this fire starter Pokemon based off of a rabbit. That would be really cool. I would love to see that. Now, one of the options that would be okay, but I excluded it because I'm not sure what they would do with it, would definitely be a snake, and that's part of the Chinese zodiac as well. If there was going to be a snake starter Pokemon, I would definitely see it as a fire poison. I just don't know if there would be anything else that would make any sense unless they were to stylize it different. But I guess it depends. You know, a lot of the options when I come up with Pokemon and stuff, the thing that I failed to realize, and maybe this is a problem with some of my speculation, is that one of the problems is that Pokemon, Game Freak Japan technically like to do a lot of their Pokemon based off of mythologies and legends and stuff. So that might be one of the issues that I have when thinking of Pokemon is, does this fit some sort of mythological legend or something? So, but you know, it's fun to guess or speculate or whatever. So next, in regards to the non-Chinese zodiac, what if technically the Chinese zodiac does not refer to a Pokemon or whatever? Let's go ahead and talk about some of the options that we have. And I have two particular Pokemon here. I have a turtle, and I feel like that would definitely work because it would complement Squirtle and Turtwig. I realize we already have a fire tortoise Pokemon in regards to Torkoal, but I would definitely like a turtle, fire turtle or tortoise being a starter, being different. Maybe even being very similar to Squirtle and being bipedal would be interesting. You know, maybe even having like a fire dark turtle maybe or whatever. Maybe even another fire fighting, and it could be based off of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. But I don't know, that'd definitely be interesting to see. Now, another non-Chinese zodiac thing that I have is the porcupine, and I realize that may be very similar to the rat because porcupines are definitely rodents or whatever. And for this particular instance, unlike, say, Cyndaquil being a fire mouse or whatever, this one I'm going to separate itself from the Chinese Zodiac just because it's something unique that I would like to see. Now, Cyndaquil, I can see maybe Cyndaquil stage being very similar to a porcupine and or whatever, but I'm thinking something more specifically porcupine-ish rather than Cyndaquil. I don't know what that would look like, but I definitely would like to see something launching like fire quills, like quills of fire, and I would definitely like that to be, well, not necessarily a signature move, but, you know, something like Cyndaquil can learn, and maybe some others, you know, maybe if there are other Pokemon that have like quills or whatever could launch fire quills. So I think it would definitely be interesting to have a fire Pokemon, a fire porcupine for a starter. That would definitely be interesting. And it could definitely look similar to Chestnut for the final evolution, just not as armored and not being a fighting type. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's all I can think of for fire. If you have a suggestion, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. Now for water, there's really only 4 animals. 2 of them are similar, but it's definitely what I thought. Like I said in the Q&A, I would definitely love a water dog starter, whether it's a Pokemon that's like basically comprised of water, or just like Suicune being a water type, but having those solid mammalian features or whatever, but being like a dog or something. That would definitely be interesting. I would love to see that. And the 2 similar Pokemon that I have here is either a squid or an octopus. I would definitely be okay with something like that, like having like a humanoid squid octopus like creature, maybe even similar to that game that exists called Octodad, but, you know, maybe more monstrous and more warrior type. Maybe we can get like a a squid octopus Viking like creature. Maybe it could be like water fighting or something. That would definitely be interesting to see. And we have yet to have a water fighting starter Pokemon. There's Poliwrath, but Poliwrath isn't a starter, you know, and it would complete the slash fighting in regards to that. So water fighting Pokemon would definitely be interesting as a starter, since we have all those fire fighting starters, as well as Chestnut being a grass fighting Pokemon. So it'd definitely be interesting to see something like that. Besides, just having the squid octopus for a starter would definitely just be interesting regardless. The third, or the technical 4th option that I have here, which would be very interesting, is if we got a true hippopotamus starter Pokemon. And this was just something that I was thinking about. I was like, what is a water creature that would make any sense? And I'm thinking, how about a proper hippopotamus Pokemon? We already have a hippopotamus Pokemon in regards to Hippopotas, but they tried to make that a land-based hippo, and hippos are more associated with water. So I did like how they made it a ground hippo, a ground type Pokemon that like swims through the ground and sand and the dirt or whatever. And I did like that contrast, but how about we actually get a proper hippo Pokemon? And like I said, a hippo probably could evolve into a water fighting Pokemon, or even a water dark, but it would definitely be interesting to see a hippo Pokemon. So anyway, now that I've seen the time, I'm way ahead of what I thought I was going to do. I didn't realize this was going to take so long. So that's all I have to say. If you have thoughts in regards to the Sun and Moon starters, you want to talk about the trademarks, or you want to think of an animal that could be a starter, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.